Hello everyone, welcome to MBA Karo. I hope you are enjoying this hot summer series in which we are covering different topics for CAT 2024. So this is our fifth class of the series. If you have not yet watched the previous 4 videos, do check out the playlist and watch all the videos. So in today's class, we are going to cover questions on percentages and its applications. Okay, so if we talk about the applications of percentages, you have profit loss and discount also, and you have interest. We call it simple interest and compound interest. These are applications of percentages. In percentages, it is very important to use your multiplying factors, and for that I have a video on my channel in which I have talked about fast calculation techniques. You can check it out and you will get to know that what are those multiplying factors. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow us on Instagram and Telegram. This is the schedule of the classes. So we have already had 4 classes. Please do watch those classes, and today on 5th of June we are going to have a class on an arithmetic class which is primarily on percentages and its applications. So save the schedule, watch one class every day and learn something new, so that in 1 month's time you become much more advanced with your CAT prep. In case you are preparing for CAT and are looking for a structured preparation, you can enroll in our CAT batch, and you can get 20% discount by using the code HOT. So you can get it for 20,000. And in this we have live classes, recorded concept videos. You will get topic wise practice sheets. There is a doubt resolution group of enrolled students. You will get full length and sectional mock tests for practice, and we shall also assist you with GDPI preparation. So if you want this sort of mentorship, you can check it, the links given in the description of this video. So let's begin, and as a ritual of this series, pause the video, try to solve the question on your own. If you are not able to solve, or even if you have solved, you want to see the optimum process of solving the question, see the solution to the videos. So let's begin with the first question. It says that the cost of packaging accounts for 8.33% of the total cost of a product. If the cost of packaging increases by 20% and all other costs remain the same, by what percentage does the cost of the product increase? Now, although it's a simple question, but in order to maximize your speed, you need to know the multiplying factors. Okay, and if you know these multiplying factors, that makes you so fast in percentages, be it percentage, profit loss, or simple interest, compound interest. And not only this, even in data interpretation, percentage based questions are asked in examinations like SNAP, ZAT, etc. So you are much more advanced in solving these questions. So 8.33% is 1 by 12. So we have the tendency that we take the cost as, generally what people do is cost of product people will take as 100x. Okay, then people will say packaging is 8.33x. This is what people do, right? If you do it this way, that means that you are already behind of most of the serious aspirants. So multiplication factor is a very important thing that one must know, and if you know this and utilize it, then you are way ahead of most of the average aspirants. So the multiplying factor is like 8.33 is 1 by 12. So we will not take 100x, we will take the cost as 12x, and packaging cost will be x. Now the cost of the packaging increases by 20%. Now it becomes 1.2x, and all other costs remain the same. By what percentage does the cost of the product increase? Now cost of product is 12x. Now there is an increase of 0.2x because cost of packaging has increased. Other costs remain same. You do not have to find other costs. Just see that it is increasing by 0.2x. So the cost of product becomes 12.2x, right? It is saying that by what percentage does the cost of the product increase? So it increases by 0.2x. You do not have to write it is 12.2. Just see that it is increasing by 0.2x, and originally it was 12x. So it becomes 2 by 120, or 1 by 60, and 1 by 60 is 1.67%. So taking the right variables can save you a lot of time in the examination. Next question, a company has two offices A and B. Office B has 50% more employees than office A. The number of men in office A is equal to the number of women in office B. The percentage of men is the same in both offices. What percentage of the employees of the company are women? Okay, not so difficult question, but taking the right numbers, we will do it instantly. So office B has 50% more employees. 50% means 1 by 2. So let us say office A has 200 employees, B has 300 employees. Okay, so A and B. Now we will have to do men and women. Okay, it says that the number of men in office A equals to number of women in office B. So let us say this is X, this is also X. It says that the percentage of men is the same in both offices. Right now some people start thinking, okay, what would be that percentage of men? No need to worry about that number. See, if the overall is by a factor of 1.5, so number of men here will be 1.5x, because percentage is same, right? So x upon 200 means 1.5x upon 300. So the total strength is 2.5x, which is 300. So we get x is equal to 120. Okay, now the question is, what percentage of the employees in the company are women? So men ka percentage same hai, so women percentage will also be same. So we have 120 out of 300 women in office B, right? The same proportion will happen here also. So it is 40%. No need to verify the answer. In the examination scenario, no need to sit and verify the answer. Some people have this tendency that try to verify the answer. See, like this would be 180 and 120. Okay, so this is 120, this is 80, 200 may say 40%, this is also 40%. But this is not needed. As soon as you get x, you can find x upon 300, which is 40%. Because the price of mangoes increased by 12.5%, even after increasing the expenditure on purchasing mangoes from 450 to 495, a person was able to purchase one mango less than usual. Find the number of mangoes purchased now. Okay, so this question wherein price and consumption is used, remember that if the expenditure is same, okay, for same expenditure, price is inversely proportional to the quantity. Okay, or if the price rises by 10%, okay, quantity does not decrease by 10%. So price increases by 12.5%. Now 12.5% is 1 by 8. So price becomes 9 by 8 times. Okay, 9 by 8 times. Price becomes 9 by 8 times because 1 by 8 increase. So this means quantity will be 8 by 9 times. Okay, inverse proportion है, तो अगर price 9 by 8 हो गया, quantity will become 8 by 9. Price becomes 5 by 4, quantity will become 4 by 5. Okay, so price and quantity are inversely proportional. This is for same expenditure. But what is happening? The expenditure is increasing from 450 to 495. 450 to 495, it is 45 by 450. That is 10% increase. Okay, 10% increase. Okay, so quantity which was 8.9 times, 8 by 9 times. So new quantity is Q becomes into 1.1. 1.1 by 10% increase. So 8.8 by 9 times, or you can say that it is 88 by 90 times, or you can say 44 by 45 also. 44 by 45 times. Okay. It means this is the quantity, it is 1 by 45 times less. Quantity becomes 44 by 45 times, which is 1 by 45 less. And how much less? It is 1 mango less. It is 1 mango. Quantity is 1 by 45 less. So that means quantity was 45 mangoes previously. 45 था, तो 1 by 45 is 1. 1 by 45 fraction is 1. So that means initial quantity was 45 mangoes. The question is saying the number of mangoes purchased now. So initially 45 and now 1 mango less. So the person is purchasing 44 mangoes. Now this question appears to be difficult to students, okay, but this is a very efficient way to solve the question. Price is inversely proportional to quantity. So a lot of factors involved here. Multiplying factor, like 8, like you take 1 by 8, so price becomes 9 by 8 times, quantity becomes 8 by 9 times. This happens when the expenditure is same, but expenditure is increasing by 10%, so quantity will be 1.1 times, so which is 44 by 45 of original quantity. 1 by 45 less, which is 1 mango less, hence originally 45 mangoes, now you are purchasing 44 mangoes. Next question. In a college, 15% of the girls and 20% of the boys failed in the examination. The number of girls who passed the exam was 82 more than the number of boys who passed the exam. If the number of students who failed the exam was 110, how many students are there in the college? Okay, not so difficult question. You know how to do it, but the key is taking the right set of variables in order to solve the equations fast. That is the मेन गेम इन अरिथमेटिक. अरिथमेटिक सबको आता है, कर लेंगे, टाइम लगा के कर लेंगे, बट कैसे सबसे तेज करना है, दैट्स व्हाट मैटर्स. यू हैव 40 मिनट्स इन द एग्जामिनेशन टू मैक्सिमाइज योर अटेम्प्ट. नाउ इफ यू लुक एट गर्ल्स एंड बॉयज, 85 दिस इज फेल एंड पास, 1585 and boys is 2080, right? Now if you see 20%, like 20% is 1 by 5, okay, 15% is, if you look at 15 by 100 you get 3 by 20, okay. Now this is the art of taking variables. If you have learned this art of taking variables, you will find it very easy to solve questions. Now what I will do is, I will take the number of girls as 20x and number of boys as 5y in order to simplify the calculation. आप क्या करते हो, आप 100 ले लेते हो, ठीक है, बड़े नंबर आते हैं फिर आपको कैलकुलेशन करने में टाइम लगता है. So we will simplify it using these variables. Now we will do fail, pass and the conditions. So this is 3x failed and we have y passed, okay, and 3x failed and y failed, and this is 17x passed and this is 4y that passed, right? It says the number of girls who passed the examination was 82 more. So this is 82 and total number of students who failed is 110. So 3x plus y is 110. Okay, equation बन गई, easily बन गई, right? Now we need to find the number of students. Now it can be easily seen that we can eliminate y. So we'll multiply this by 4. So we will get 12x plus 4y is 440. Add these two equations. So we will get 29x equals 522, right? And x is 80. Now I do not know the table of 29, and remember that this people will not tell you. They will say कि 29 से divide करते हैं, calculator उठाओ. नहीं, remember that if this is a question, number of boys and girls has to be integers. Decimal में आ ही नहीं सकते हैं. Now students do not get this confidence that they try to divide by 29. Time लेते हैं, right? I did it instantly. I do not know what is 29 into 18, but this is my gut call which will say 18. कैसे? देखो 29 into 20 is 580. 29 into 2 is 58, right? And last digit हमें 2 बनाना है. So 9 into 8 is 72. Last digit is 2. So I get the call that it is going to be 18. I never check. Okay. So whatever be the question, if you know that the value has to be an integer, it has to be integer. Number of people cannot be in decimals. अगर यहाँ पे simple interest या compound interest होता है, ऐसी चीज़ होती जो decimals में आ सकती है, you would still think of dividing. But it talks about the number of students. It cannot be integers, right? So you need to get this level of confidence that you solve questions instantly. और ये चीज़ अगर आपने build कर दी, try to inculcate while whenever you solve questions, you realize that you become much more fast in solving questions. Now अब हमें निकालना है number of students, ठीक है? कैसे निकालेंगे? Total girls कितनी है? 20x, that is 360. और y कहाँ रख देंगे, इस इक्वेशन में रखते हैं y, because that is the simplest equation. So 54 plus y is 110. So this gives us y as 56. This gives us 5y as 280. Okay, so when you add the number of, you get 640. Now you would be knowing how to solve this question. It's not that you do not know how to solve the question. आप वेरिएबल लेके करते but हो जाता. But you learned something, some new tricks, how like a 99.9 plus percentiler thinks while solving the question. How the toppers solve the question. ठीक है, that's what matters. Because देखो काफ़ी लोग होंगे जिनको ये क्वेश्चन करना है. Many people will know. People will say हाँ doable question था. But doable does not matter. It matters is how fast you solve those questions. I hope you are enjoying this series and learning some great methods to solve problems. So let's proceed to the next set of questions. Let's now come to simple and this profit and loss. And it says that a person sold a fridge at 12% profit. If he had bought the fridge for 16% less amount and sold it for rupees 1400 less, he would have gained 20%. Find the original selling price of the fridge. Now profit loss, people think that it's a different chapter, but actually profit loss is nothing but just application of percentages. So in profit loss, try to think in terms of percentages. So whenever you see profit or loss, think in terms of cost price. So 112% profit means 112% of cost price. Okay, 16% less में खरीदा, that means 84% of cost price. Okay, so this is what you need to think of. And gained 20% means 120% of cost price. So you need to think in these terms. Now let us look at the question. He sold a fridge at 112% of CP. So original, the case when you can say that original transaction is cost price and selling price. His cost price is 100x and he is selling at 112x. Now in the new scenario, he bought for 16% less. So he bought for 84x and sold it for 1400 less. So he sold it for 1400 less than this. Okay, it is given that he would gain 20%. So 20% means into 1.2 times should be this, isn't it? So 84 into 1.2, 84 into 2 is 168, 16.8. So 100.8x is equal to 112x minus 1400. So we get 11.2x is 1400. Now what it is saying, the original selling price of the fridge. तो ये हमारा आ रहा है ओरिजिनल सेलिंग प्राइस इज 112x. सो एक डेसिमल शिफ्ट हो जाएगा, दैट वुड बी 14,000. Okay, simple question on profit and loss. So what it said is, like initially 100x and 112x was the cost and selling price. Now in the new case he is purchasing for 84x because it is 16% less amount, and selling price is 112x minus 1400 because he is selling for 1400 less, not than less than this, less than the actual selling price. Okay, now this is 20% profit means 1.2 times. So we equated. Now as a smart student you should not be calculating the value of x, because ultimately we have to answer what is 112x. So we can answer it accordingly. Next question, the cost price of goods increased by 2500 and a trader manages to increase his selling price by only 2000. This resulted in his profit percentage dropping from 20% to 12%. What was the percentage increase in the selling price? Okay. Now see this, how do we take the right set of variables to solve it in the minimum possible time? Now initial profit percentage कितना? Profit percentage was 20%. That means 1 by 5. तो हम क्या करेंगे? Initial and new. See, in this video I am taking questions which are doable, which people know how to do, but the right methods. And if you apply these methods, you automatically become much fast than most of the people, because most of the people do not know this, and most of the educators you will find teach very conventional methods. Okay, now 20% is 1 by 5, so initial cost price let us take at 5x, right? So selling price is 6x. ये आपके दिमाग में बैठ जाना चाहिए, जब भी 20% है आपको 5 और 6 आपको वैल्यूज लेनी है, 5x and 6x. Now what happens is the cost price increases by 2500. So new cost price is 5x plus 2500. Okay, and selling price increases by 2000. So selling price is 6x plus 2000. Now what it says, the profit percentage is just 12% now. Profit कितना हो जाएगा, इस केस में मत निकालो, इस केस में निकालो. So profit is selling price minus cost price, so which is x minus 500. Okay, x minus 500 is 12% of this. Okay, so what we get, x minus 500 upon x plus 500. Why did I take 5x plus 500? Because it is 5 is common, right? It is 12 by 100. I will tell you how to solve equations in a very smart way, which probably you might not have seen anywhere. ठीक है, अब क्या करते हैं, यहाँ पे लोग क्रॉस मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर रहे होते हैं, राइट? आई विल टेल यू हाउ टू गेट द वैल्यू ऑफ x डायरेक्टली. सी, दोनों में x कॉमन है. अप्लाई दिस टेक्निक व्हेन बोथ वेरिएबल्स आर सेम, लाइक x कॉमन है. इन दोनों में डिफरेंस कितना है, -500 और 500 में डिफरेंस है 1000 का. ठीक है, गैप इज 1000 बिटवीन दीज टू नंबर्स. और इसमें गैप कितना है, इसमें गैप है 8 का. ठीक है, गैप इक्वल कर दो. ठीक है, स्ट्रेट लीनियर इक्वेशन बन जाती है, गैप इक्वल कर देंगे. सो इन ऑर्डर टू मेक अ गैप ऑफ 1000 वी नीड टू मल्टीप्लाई बाय 125, सो दैट गैप बिकम्स 1000. सो 125 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, दिस विल बी 1500 एंड दिस विल बी 2000. ओके, व्हाई डिड वी डू इट, सॉरी, दिस इज 2500. ठीक है, नाउ गैप 1000 हो गया. Okay, so probably you might not have seen this method of solving equations. Okay, this saves you time. Instead of doing cross multiplication you can do it fast, but this comes with practice, और practice के साथ ये improve कर सकते हो. कभी भी ऐसी equation बन रही है wherein the variable is same, x same है, तो gap equate कर दो, सीधे बन जाएगा. x minus 500 is 1500, so x is 2000. x is 2000. So x is 2000. So now what we need to tell is, we need to tell the percentage increase in the selling price. अब ओरिजिनल यहाँ पे x की वैल्यू 2000 आ गई, यहाँ पे रख दो. सेलिंग प्राइस फर्स्ट इट वाज 12000. ओके, नाउ इट इज 14000. और यू कैन से दैट द प्राइस वाज 12000, इट इंक्रीज बाय 2000. सो 2000 अपॉन 12000, 2 by 12 is 1/6. 1/6 means 16.66%. So it's all about taking the right set of variables, thinking in that right direction. If you take 100x, 120x, calculations will become even bigger, and it takes time to write 100 rather than writing 5. ठीक है, 1 के आगे आपको 2 0 बनाने पड़ते हैं. ठीक है, जितनी बार आप स्टेप्स में लिखोगे. सो दिस इज वाई सम पीपल सॉल्व क्वेश्चंस सो फास्ट. ठीक है, इसीलिए होता है. लाइक आई राइट 5x, अगर आप 100x लिखोगे, ठीक है, इसको आप कितना लिखोगे 120x. आपको 3 डिजिट लिखने पड़ रहा है, मुझे 1 डिजिट लिखना पड़ रहा है. ठीक है, आई डू नॉट इवन राइट x व्हेन आई सॉल्व क्वेश्चंस. लाइक जब मैं खुद सॉल्व करता हूँ, यहाँ तो आपको बता रहा हूँ 5x लिखना हूँ, मैं 5 और 6 लिखता हूँ. ठीक है, देन like you can use some notation, right? Instead of writing 5x you can write 5 dot. Okay, to show that it's a variable, right? जरूरी थोड़ी है x लिखना, right? वो हमें स्कूल में बताया x लिखना. I write dot, that means that it is 5 and a variable, right? So save your time. No one will tell you कि ऐसे कर सकते हैं. So that's a special thing that you are learning here. That try to minimize your time. जितना टाइम आप लिखने में बचाओगे, उतना टाइम आप क्वेश्चंस सॉल्व करने में लगा सकते हो, उतने ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर सकते हो. So it's smartness is not solving in a very lengthy manner. Try to solve it in as less steps as possible, writing as less as possible, right? Not only save paper, save your time, and crack the examination with a better score. As a part of sales promotion, a stationer is offering 1 pencil free with every pack of 10 pencils. By what percentage should he mark up the pencils if he desires a profit of 10%, right? Now this is a conceptual question, and some students, not some but many students suffer in this question. They are unable to figure out कि कैसे इन्हें सॉल्व किया जाता है, कंफ्यूज होते हैं क्या वैल्यूज लेनी चाहिए क्या नहीं लेनी चाहिए, ठीक है? सो वेरी सिंपल इज when he says that he is offering 1 pencil free for a pack of 10 pencils, ठीक है? 10 के साथ एक फ्री दे रहा है. सो how much is he selling, ठीक है? कितनी सेल कर रहा है? 11 सेल कर रहा है, सेल कर रहा है 11, ठीक है? और कॉस्ट उसको कितनी पड़ रही है? कॉस्ट उसे पड़ रही है एक्चुअली 10, ठीक है? क्योंकि एक वो फ्री दे रहा है. So when he's see actually he is selling 11, ठीक है, for 10. So he's saying 10 and selling 11, and he has to make a profit of 10% on it. So actually actually his cost is 11 because he is selling 11 pencils, ठीक है? 11 pencils sell कर रहा है तो उसकी cost 11 है. Ultimately he purchased 11 pencils, so his cost is 11. Now while he is selling, he is saying that 10 ही लो, एक फ्री की है तो 10 इसका सेलिंग प्राइस हो रहा है, बट ही नीड्स टू मेक अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ 10%, ठीक है? इसको 10% प्रॉफिट बनाना है तो ही शुड मार्क द पेंसिल्स एट 12.1, ये मार्क प्राइस होना चाहिए. सो अगर ये 10 को 12.1 पे मार्क कर रहा है, so that means he is increasing the mark price by 21%. So his actual cost is 11, right? He is like the displayed cost is 10. He says that it is costing him 10 rupees, right? And he needs to mark 12.21% above so that he still gets a profit of 10% on it. So actual cost उसे 11 पड़ रही है, उसे 10% प्रॉफिट बनाना है, so उसे 12.1 पे बेचना है. Okay, so 12.1 पे बेचना है and he is selling 10 pencils at 12.1. So there is an increase of 21% in the mark price of that pencil. So इस questions को इस तरह से attempt करते हैं. A shopkeeper marked an article 26.66% above its cost price and sold it after 2 successive discounts of 12.5% and rupees 112 respectively. If the total profit earned by the shopkeeper in the whole transaction is rupees 18, find the mark price of the article. Now you know that this is a doable question, but it becomes calculation intensive. Now here comes again the fact of using the right variables. अगर आप सही वेरिएबल लेना जानते हो ना, then you can solve these questions like anything, right? You are much better than 99% of the people if you solve it taking the right variables. Variables मतलब वही जो हमने multiplication factor use किया. Now 26.66%, you may not be very much familiar with this percentage. So I'll tell you 2 ways to figure out, right? One is like see 26.66 है, इसे 3 से multiply कर दोगे, so you will get 80. It becomes 80 by 3. 80 by 3 percentage means 80 by 300, which is 4 by 15. एक तरीका ये इसका percentage, इसका fraction equivalent निकालने का. Second way is you can, we know 16.66%, we know 10%. 16 by 66% is 1 by 6 and this is 1 by 10. So add 1 by 6 and 1 by 10. So you will get 5 plus 3 by 30. Okay, 5 by 30, 3 by 30. 8 by 30 or again 4 by 15. So using either method find what is its equivalent, ठीक है? अब क्या है कि the mark price is 4 by 15 above. So हम क्या ले लेंगे? Cost price हम लेते हैं 15x और mark price should be 19x. Why do we take such variables? In order to simplify the calculations. अगर आप 126.66 लोगे करते रह जाओगे, like you will say कि 5 मिनट लग गए क्वेश्चन करने में, right? But if you take the right variables, you can drastically reduce the time. You can solve in less than half of the time. It is all about taking the right set of variables in all percentage based chapters. So after 2 successive discounts of 12.5%, now again we will change the variables accordingly. 12.5% means 1 by 8, ठीक है? अगर आप 1 by 8 लेस कर रहे हो and we give discount on the mark price. So mark price should be a multiple of 8. Okay? We will change the variable now. See, it is not necessary that you put 100, right? You can take any number. So if it is 8, 1 by 8 less, let us multiply by 8 to get the new cost and mark price. Okay? So we will not take this cost, we will take the cost as 120 and mark price as 152x. Now अब देखो कितनी आसानी से equation solve होगी. Now he gave two successive discounts. First is of 1 by 8. So अब 1 by 8, 152 by 8 is 19. So अब 19x कम हो गया और दूसरे डिस्काउंट में 112 कम हो गया, right? And how much is he making? He is making a profit of ₹18. तो cost price ये थी, ठीक है, उसमें 18 छोड़ दो, that will be the selling price. What is selling price? Cost price plus profit. So this is the mark price, this is the discount 1, this is the discount 2, that becomes the selling price, which is cost price plus profit. Now see this, if you see the equation, you will get 13x is equal to 130, 133 minus 120, 13x, and if you take it this side, it becomes 130. So x is 10. What they are asking, mark price of the article 152x. So the answer is 1520. That is the power of taking the right variables in percentages. If you have learned this art, no matter percentage, profit loss, okay, simple interest, compound interest, you can solve these questions with ease. Okay, here's the next question. It says that the shopkeeper mistakenly read the mark price at 1680 instead of 1950 and sold the article at a 15% discount. After selling the article, he reads the actual mark price, and to compensate for the loss, he sells the same article to the next customer at an 8% discount on the correct mark price. What is the difference between the selling prices of the two articles? Okay, so this is not a difficult one. You just need to read the question. Sometimes the questions will be lengthy to read. ठीक है, आपको पढ़ना है और दो चीज़ें अटेम्प्ट करनी है. So he read the mark price at 1680 for the first one and sold the article at 15% discount. ठीक है, इस पे 15% डिस्काउंट कर रहा है, इसको 85% पे बेच रहा है. And second case, he is selling this, he used the correct mark price and next customer 8% डिस्काउंट ऑन द करेक्ट मार्क प्राइस, इसके 92% पे सेल कर रहा है. ठीक है, एट 92% ही इज सेलिंग. Okay, so we need to find that what is we need to find out what is the difference between the selling prices. So obviously this will be the higher one. So 1950 का 92% minus 1680 का 85%. So it was not much of like thinking, but just using calculations. So this is more on calculation techniques. Now if you have to find 1950 का 92%, so you will say that it is 19.5 का into 92, okay, minus this is 16.8 into 85. Okay, I'll tell you step by step to reduce these calculations quite fast. Remember half and double method of multiplication. Now if I double it, so if I have to multiply two numbers A and B, right, the product is AB. If instead I multiply 2A by half B, the product is still AB. If instead I had multiplied half of A into 2 times of B, the product is AB. We are concerned about the product, right? We are not at all worried which numbers did we multiply. So now see this is 39 into 46, okay, and this is like if you take it, this will be half of it, that is 84, and this is 170. So can we say it is 84 into 17? Like if you take 1/5 of it, or let's take like this, if we are doing A into B, so 1/5 of A into 5 of B is also AB, right? As long as you take this 5 times, that is 84, and divide it by 5, you get 17. The product is the same. Okay, so these techniques right, help you solve questions much fast. Now if you see this thing, right, this is 9 into 6 4 and this is 8, so the last digit should be 6, but unfortunately we have 3 options which have the last digit as 6. Okay, so what to do in that case? So probably we will have to calculate sometimes these things. So you need to be vigilant that what can be done to minimize the calculation part. See, if you have studied all the chapters, the problem is people study the chapters, right? ऐसा नहीं होता लोग पढ़े नहीं होते, लोगों ने पढ़े होते concept, but they do not know these techniques. तो ये technique का खेल है बस, ठीक है? Concept लोगों को आते हैं, percentage, simple interest, profit loss, जो major topics हैं quant के वो सबको आते हैं. There are very few questions out of the entire paper. There will be very few questions which are out of the box, ठीक है, जिसमें आपको अलग ही सोचना पड़ता है. Usually people know how to do things, right, but they do not know the right methods, the optimum methods. वो conventional तरीके से करे जा रहा था. Like for example यहाँ पे आप 19.5 into 92 सोच रहे होते हैं, ठीक है. Now immediately think of this, that last digit is not working, so probably we will have to find the answer. Now 39 into 46 is 39 into 50 is 1950, and 39 into 4 will be 156. Okay, so this is 1894, sorry 1794. Okay, minus 84 into 17, that is 68. Okay, 6 136 142. So just do these two digit subtraction, you get 366. So that is the answer to this question. So not a difficult question. Calculation लगानी है इसमें, calculation कैसे optimize कर सकते हैं, these are the ways to reduce the calculation. In summer, the meter scale of a cloth merchant expands by 25%. By what percentage should he mark up the cloth so that even after giving 10% discount on the list price, the merchant still makes a profit of 8%? Okay, so this is a question in which like false weight that is being used. Now usually in false weight you will find questions कि जिसमें जो scale है वो छोटा होता है, but unfortunately this scale is increasing. So if the scale is increasing, he has to increase the price also so that he can make profit. Okay, usually you will find questions जिसमें scale छोटा होता है, like instead of 100 meter you will get 90 meter, right? Instead of 1000 ml you get 950 ml, etc. But this is in which the scale is longer. Okay, so इसे लेते हैं 25%. As soon as it comes to your mind it should be 4. ठीक है, तो cos से लेते हैं 4. Okay. अब क्या है कि 4 को अब ये 5 बन गया स्केल, ठीक है. He has to, after he has to give 10% discount, he has to make a profit of 8%. Okay, so actual cost is 4. So in false weights, actual cost is 4. Now for the customer, this is customer point of view. Customer point of view, the cost is 5. Why the cost is 5? Because the scale has expanded by 25%. तो customer को क्या लग रहा है, वो 5 मीटर दे रहा है, like instead of 4 he is selling 5. Okay, now he has to give a discount of 10% discount and make a profit of 8%. So selling price will be, अगर आपको थोड़ा सा भी ऐसे confusion लग रहा है, ऐसे 400 500 ले लो, selling price should be 540. Okay, 540 selling price होना चाहिए, and because there is 8% profit. Okay. And we need to tell the mark price, right? So he is giving 10% discount, so that means the mark price should have been 600. अगर mark price 600 होगा, 10% discount देंगे, so the selling price will be 540 and he is making a 8% profit on it. So cost is 100. Now the actual cost was 400, he is marking at 600, so he is marking at 50% above the price. Okay, so this is how we solve these questions. Actual cost is on the actual weight. Actually उसको cost 400 पड़ रही है, but from customer point of view the cost is just 500. The cost is 500. Why? Because the scale has expanded. So you find the actual cost using the the scale and the customer's point of view on the final one. So the cost from the customer point of view is 500. He is selling at, he's making 8% profit on it, okay, and giving 10% discount. So that means he has to mark at 540. So sorry, mark at 600. So 400 ka 600 banane mein he has to increase by 50%. So I hope you've enjoyed this session thus far. So don't forget to like this video. Let's solve a few more questions, and that we are going to be based on simple and compound interest, which is again a percentage of applications, an application of percentages. So this is a question. It says that Viru invested 10,000 at 5% simple interest, and exactly 2 years after 2 years Joy invested 8,000 at 10% simple annual interest. How many years after Viru's investment will their balances, that is principal plus accumulated interest, be equal? Okay, all right. So it is like a person running the race in advance. So Viru invested 10,000 at 5% annual interest. So that means 5% उसको annual interest मिल रहा है. So that is 500 rupees per year. Okay, and exactly after 2 years Joy invested 8,000 at 10% simple annual interest. इससे annual interest मिल रहा है 800 का. Okay. How many years after Viru's investment? ठीक है, तो Viru's investment के बाद निकालना है. So let's start with Jay. ठीक है, why are we doing with Jay? Because it is simple to find out. So ये start 10,000 से किया, 2 साल में से कितना इंटरेस्ट मिल गया? 500 plus 500. ठीक है, 2 साल में, because after 2 years Joy is starting. Now suppose after this it is n years, right? Instead of Viru we are calculating after Jay, time after Jay. We will remember that we will have to, after Joy is n years. Okay, so he will make 500 n rupees in these many years, right? Because every year he is making 500 rupees. So he will make 500 n, and this person invested 8,000 and he will make 800 n in this year. Now if you see it, so this gives us 300 n is equal to, this is 11,000 minus 8,000, 3,000, or n is 10 years. N is 10 years, the answer is 12. So this is a very simple question, that but people make mistake is वो यहाँ पे 10 mark कर देता है. Okay, so how we did is 10,000 he initially invested, after 2 years he has made 11,000. ठीक है, वो 11,000 उसके पास already है, and he is making 800. Like think it like this. ठीक है, 2 साल बाद उसने start किया, he has already made 11,000, उसके पास 11,000 है. Every year he is, that Joy when he is investing he is getting 800 interest. So 300 rupees का extra interest मिल रहा है. ठीक है, इसके पास 11,000 है और इसके पास like 8,000 है. ठीक है, when he is starting, like after 2 years. After 2 years he has 11,000, he has 8,000. He is making 500 per year. ठीक है, and he is making 800 per year. So he is making 300 extra. He is making 300 extra, and the gap is 3,000. So 3,000 at the rate of 300 will become 0 in 10 years. 10 years after 2 years. So 10 plus 2, 12 years. That is the answer. Simple question. It's just that people tend to make silly mistakes in these and get confused. So you should not get confused in such questions. An equal sum was invested in 3 schemes for 2 years. The first scheme provided 10% simple interest, second scheme provided 15% simple interest, third scheme provided 20% compound interest. Total interest received by after 2 years from all the schemes is what percent of the total sum? Simple question. ठीक है सर, 10 100 100 100 ले लो. ठीक है, this is the principal, P1 P2 P3. 10% into 2. So simple interest is what? Rate into time. So इस पे simple interest मिल गया 20. ठीक है, ये principal था, ये interest मिला 20. Second scheme 15% SI, so that is 30. Third scheme 20% CI. So 20% CI means 1.2 का whole square is 1.44, minus 1 is 0.44. So percentage terms should be clear. This is 44 CI, right? It says the total interest received from all schemes. So he invested 300 and how much in interest he is getting? 94 rupees. So 94 by 300 is 31.33%. Very simple question, just use of percentages. Alright, let's look at the next question. A certain amount of money is lent out at compound interest at the rate of 20% per annum for 2 years compounded annually. It would give 1446 more if the amount is compounded half yearly. Find the principal. Okay. Now see, there are certain things in which you should know the values. Like for example, what is 10%? See, understand this. 1.2 ka whole square is 1.44, right? So amount is 144%. So compound interest is 44%. Okay. When we look at 1.1, now if it is compounded half yearly, rate will become 20 by 2, which is 10%, and time will become 2 into 2, which is 4 years. So in this scenario, 1.4641. So amount is 146.41%. That means compound interest is 46.41%. Okay. So we need to see this, or like even if you do not take compound interest, you can just say the amount, because he is saying that like it would give 1446 more. So what is the difference? In case 2, when it is half yearly, the amount is 146.41%. Okay. And in case 1, the amount becomes 144%. ठीक है, अगर interest की भी बात करें, does not matter, the difference is given, right? So whether you take the difference of amount or you take the difference of compound interest, it does not matter. So the difference is how much? 2.41%. 2.41% is 1446. Now as I told you that you should have this gut call कि ये कितने times होगा, ठीक है? You do not need to know the table of 241. ठीक है? So 241, 24 into 6 is 144 and 1 into 6 is 6. So 1446 हो जाएगा 6 times. So look at the number starting with 6. So 60,000 is our answer. So it was about knowing these percentage values. Like 20% compound interest for 2 years is 44%. 10% compound interest for 4 years, or like 10% into 4, if it is increasing on 4 time intervals, it is 46.41%. So knowing these percentages, it helps you solve these questions fast. Next question, it says that Tarun deposited some money in SBI at the rate of 20% per annum simple interest. He withdrew the money after 1 year, deposited it in Axis Bank at a fixed rate compounded annually for 2 years, and gets rupees 15,480 as the total interest. If the first year's interest at Axis Bank was 7,200, what amount had Tarun deposited in SBI? Now this is a question wherein some people might think कि Axis में तो rate of interest नहीं दिया है, answer कैसे निकलेगा? If there was an option cannot be determined, many people would have marked that as the answer, because thinking कि Axis Bank का interest नहीं दिया है. So let's see how to solve this question. Remember that first year में simple interest is equal to compound interest. ठीक है. Thereafter, like compound interest keeps on increasing, simple interest remains constant, right? And the second point to remember is CI increases at the rate of interest per year. ठीक है, ये दो चीज़ें आपको दिमाग में रखनी है. दो कॉन्सेप्ट कि फर्स्ट ईयर में सिंपल इंटरेस्ट और कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट सेम होता है, सेकेंड ईयर में कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट इंक्रीजेज एट द रेट ऑफ R% देन प्रीवियस ईयर. लाइक अगर पहले ईयर में कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट 8,000 है and the rate of interest is 10%, next year the compound interest is going to be 8,800. Okay, so now he does two transactions, SBI and at Axis. So in Axis Bank 2 years में compound interest कितना है 15480 and first year interest कितना है 7,200, right? So now we will talk about this Axis Bank transaction. So first year SI is equal to CI, that is 7,200 and total compound interest is 15480. So second year में इसने कितना compound interest बनाया, that is 8280. Okay, so second year, see compound interest for first year is 7,200, total compound interest is this, so compound interest for the second year is 8280. What is the increase? The increase is 1080. And what did I tell you? Compound interest increases at R% per year. So 15 times you will get 15% आ जाएगा आपका rate of interest. ठीक है, rate of interest 15% आ गया, right? Now rate of interest 15% आ गया, so it says that he made 7,200 in the first year. So 7,200 मतलब 15% जो इसने डिपॉजिट किया था उसका 15% इंटरेस्ट आया. Okay, so 15% interest आया, 15% is 7,200. So what did he deposit in Axis? 48,000. Axis में he deposited 48,000 because 15% of 48,000 is 7,200. Now before that he had deposited in SBI. SBI he got 20% per annum simple interest. So SBI में deposit कितना होगा? SBI deposit will be 40,000. Okay. So 40,000 यहाँ deposit किया, 20% grow हो गया, ठीक है, so it became 48,000. Now Axis में 48,000 deposit किया, first year में 15% आया, first year at Axis he got 7,200, second year Axis में he got this interest and this is what he got. So if you know the conceptual concept behind simple and compound interest and know these things, you could solve this question with ease. Alright, so here's a question on installments. It's a rare topic which you hardly get in the exams, but I'll tell you a way to solve this question in a very simple way. आप formula book में formula देखते हो, आपके समझ में नहीं आता ये formula लग कैसे रहा है, but if you watch this solution, this will change the way you solve installment based questions. Okay, Lokesh borrowed 46,000 at 10% simple interest payable at 4 equal annual installments. Find the annual installment paid by him. कुछ formula होते हैं 1 plus x 1 plus x plus 1 plus x का whole square and all those things. I will tell you a very simple way to do it. Right? Suppose he has to play installments. Right? Suppose installment है 100 100 100 100 की, 4 इंस्टॉलमेंट में पे करना है. This is if you pay in installment. And what if you pay at end? Okay. Now if you pay at end, how much will you pay? 46,000, 10% interest or 10% for interest and 4 years. So that means you have to pay 140% of 46,000. Okay. और सिंपल वे में लिखें कि 140 इंटू 46,000 का 140, so 140 into 460. That is how much you need to pay at the end, right? If you do not pay in installments, you have to pay everything in the end, so which is 140 into 460, using that simple amount for simple interest, right? Now this was the last installment, so if you pay that installment at the end, you have to pay 100x only. Okay. If this was supposed to be paid at the end of 3rd year, so if you delay it, you do not pay in time, what you will end up doing, you will pay it 1 year late. आप लास्ट में पे करोगे तो 1 ईयर लेट हो जाओगे, और इंटरेस्ट कितना है 10% सिंपल इंटरेस्ट, तो इसमें आपको 10% इंटरेस्ट देना पड़ेगा. यू विल हैव टू पे 110x if you do not pay this on time. Okay, so if it is 1 year late, if you pay here, if you do not pay this installment on time, you will pay it 2 years late. आपको 2 year डिले होगी ना, आपको यहाँ पे पे करना था, but you paid it 2 years late, so you'll have to pay 120x, right? If you do not pay this installment on time, you have to pay it after 3 years, so that means you'll have to pay 130x. Now imagine the scenario when you did not pay any of the installments. तो अगर आपको ये टाइम पे पे कर देते तो आपको 100x 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 पड़ता. You did not, this anyway is in the last year, so it remains same. If you do not pay it on time, you are 1 year late, you have to deposit 110x. If you do not pay this on time and pay in the end, so you'll have to pay 120x. If you do not pay this on time, you paid 3 years late, you'll have to pay 130x. Now imagine the scenario where you did not pay any of the installments. आपने installment दिए ही नहीं, ठीक है? तो क्या करा आपने, ये सारा एक साथ डिपॉजिट कर दिया. Now what we do in simple interest, compound interest? We say that a person borrows money and pays in the end, isn't it? यही तो करते हैं. A person deposit for 2 years, takes it out. A person borrows money for 3 years and then pays all together. Now this is the scenario when you pay all together. So you are paying 460x altogether, which is 140 into 460. Okay. We need to find, what do we need to find? We need to find the annual installment. Annual installment is 100x. 460x इतना है, ठीक है? x कितना हो गया 140, ठीक है? और 100x will be 14,000. So that is the annual installment. So instead of using complex formulas, think it this way, right? And solve it accordingly. Now same question, if it was about compound interest, how would we have solved? Okay. So if it was about compound interest, his installment would have been 100x 100x. Okay, and amount he has to pay would have been 46,000 into 1 point, because there are 4 years, 4641, ठीक है? Because amount ये हो जाता आपका amount payable. Now if he pays this, he has to pay 100x. 1 year late 110x, 2 years late 121x, ठीक है? Because यहाँ पे compound interest है. This would have been 133.1x. ये करके ये put कर दिया and find the value of 100x using this. So if it was a question on compound interest, this is how you solve. So it does not matter whether it is simple interest or compound interest. What matters is equate the installments. Find what if the person does not pay on time, how much will he have to pay at the end, and if that person pays all things at the end, he has to pay the total amount due. So this is the total amount due based on simple or compound interest. Okay, equate it. If you do not pay it in installments, if you pay it at the end, equate कर दो, फिर यहाँ पे 100x आपने जो installment मानी है, put that as the value and get the annual installment. So do let me know in the comments. Of course you will need calculator for this. Usually अगर ऐसे आंसर्स होंगे तो आपको ऐसा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट दिया होगा या वैल्यू ऐसी दी होगी जिसमें आपके राउंड ऑफ नंबर्स आंसर आ सकें. Okay, so try to calculate it and tell me that what would be the interest installment in case of compound interest. So I hope you learned something new, how to solve installment based questions with very simple approach. So this was today's hot session on percentages, profit loss, simple and compound interest. This must have given you some great insights how to solve these questions in a very efficient manner, much better way than the conventional methods that you have been using. There are 3 questions for you to answer in the comments. One is on percentages, another is on profit loss, and the third one on simple and compound interest. So please do solve these questions and comment, paste your answers in the comments of this video, and also let me know that how did you find this class. And if you want to get the free PDF of this class, join my Telegram group where you will get the PDFs of all the 30 sessions. And don't forget to follow us on social media platforms. And if you are not a subscriber of this channel, please do subscribe to the channel for great content on MBA preparation. So thank you again for watching this video. Have a great day. Goodbye.